Hello and welcome to the podcast. Today we will be discussing whether or not Vettel will be going to Aston Martin. Now, right out of the gate, I will say that Vettel is going to go to Aston Martin. While they haven't had talks, it was clear in Martin Brundle's interview with Vettel that Vettel is still interested in racing in F1. This isn't too much of a surprise, but I don't think for Vettel retirement is too much of an option right now. He still has a strong drive to race, and to race in F1. For Aston Martin, this would be an amazing choice. With a new partnership and a brand new proven driver, they will be put in the spotlight. And a racer like Vettel is what could take a team like Aston Martin to the next level. But in recent years, there have been two projects that haven't really worked out. Ricardo at, Ricardo at Renault and Fernando at McLaren. But one has worked out, and that's Lewis at Mercedes. The downfall for McLaren was obviously their engine, and Aston Martin doesn't seem to have too much of an issue with that. The Mercedes power unit is extremely robust and will stay like that for a long time. Now with Ricardo, Renault just didn't make the necessary steps forward in their car. Renault just stayed the same, and McLaren made a lot of steps forward, which obviously interested Ricardo, and he moved on. For Lewis, it's likely that the team showed him what Mercedes is capable of, and he joined the team. Vettel said in Martin Brundle's interview that on the outside, Aston Martin looks pretty appealing. A cool name with like Aston Martin on a team that's on the up. But he also stated that you don't know what it's like on the inside, and that's 100% true. It seems as though the team is only doing good because they copied Mercedes' car from last year, and that's definitely not promising. For Vettel, I think it'd be his best move right now. He gets to stay in the sport and with a pretty decent team. There's no other teams that are open for him. Renault, McLaren, obviously Ferrari, Red Bull, and Mercedes all look like they're out of the running. And the bottom three teams really do not look enticing. Haas, for Haas, there's no way they're going to sign a big name. Williams have already confirmed their drivers for next year. And Alfa Romeo is too far down the grid, for sure. So, who would Vettel replace? Now, in my mind, this is pretty obvious, and it's Lance Stroll. But because Lance Stroll's dad owns Racing Point at the moment, he's staying. But when Aston Martin comes in, Lawrence Stroll will not have a majority stake. So, this begs the question, will Vettel still replace Stroll? And I really hope he will, and he probably will. If Vettel replaces Stroll, that puts Aston Martin at a pretty good spot. They have two very strong, experienced drivers, and that can really drive the team forward. But I don't think the team has it in them. The team has stayed in a relatively midfield position the whole time that they've been there, as Force India, Racing Point, and probably as Aston Martin. It seems that their best year so far has just started, but it really doesn't seem like it's the innovation that's driving them rather than the car that they copied. Also, the lack of innovation from other teams has pushed their team forward. I really see Aston Martin staying in the same place and not really moving any farther forward. I hope they do, as I do believe Vettel definitely has a lot more championships in him, but I just don't see it happening. It'd be great for the sport to keep him in, but as we know, people like Hulkenberg and Ocon in recent years have been forced out as there's just no other options for them. With Vettel though, he has such a drive to win that I don't see him leaving. So my prediction for next year is 100% that Perez and Vettel will be teammates.